o'clock, and I will call June 10th, 2025. Order.
We can't hear. Use your mic.
It's on.
No, it's not.
I will clear the room, okay? I'm speaking as loud as I can. Perfect. Well, I feel like I'm screaming. But there's not going to be any shout outs from the crowd. We maintain decorum in here, okay? Tonight we have Pastor James Mitchell from Pioneer Church to provide the invocation. If you would please stand and remain standing, please.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this day that you've given us. When we gather here this evening, God, we pray that above all your will would be done. Paul told Timothy that we should pray for our leaders, and God, we do that tonight. Specifically, it said in 1 Timothy 2:2 that we may lead peaceful, quiet, and godly, and dignified in every way. God, I ask that you would oversee this meeting tonight, and they would grant all involved wisdom, discernment, guidance, and direction as they discuss and deliberate on the matters that are before them. God, I pray that in doing so, they would both represent and serve their community well. God, we live in a time with such significant dissension, hostility, and fear. It seems like there isn't a day that goes by where we don't hear some sort of violence or hatred or a combination of the two. God, help us to remember that, and more importantly, to put into practice that the truth that each person, those that we agree with and those that we disagree with, that they're made in your image, each having value and significance. God, we need more of you and less of us. God, I pray that this would be the case tonight in this meeting, more of you. God, I ask for clarity tonight for each person involved in this meeting. I pray that respect and grace be shown to each individual as they speak and share. And above all, God, I pray that your will would be done. It's in the name of Jesus that I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'm going to change the agenda up because I know several of you signed up for something that has never been discussed among the board. So I'm going to move old business up before the citizens. And the first item we have on old business is adoption of the fiscal year 26 budget and the tax levy. Now, Mr. Barrett, you want to give a summarization of that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to. What you have before you is following the public hearing at our last Board of Supervisors meeting and following advertisement of said public hearing and said tax rates. Resolution 2521 is before you. That basically indicates that you have to do public notice consideration of said budget. The total budget here to totaling $118,206,259, which includes Wythe County School Board funding, being here is hereby adopted as the budget of Wythe County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, ending June 30th, 2026. It also establishes the tax rates that are hereby levied, which are no increases from last year: 51 cents per $100 for real estate, $2.22 per 100 for personal property, $1.50 for machinery and tools, and 56 cents for merchants capital. This budget was as was presented to you. If I may, Mr. Chairman, a point, I know the library is the primary point of discussion a lot of people were here about. The proposed budget includes a funding increase in the library of $77,799. Part of that is for the starting and the operations of Fort Chisholm Library, which is hopefully scheduled to start operations if the Friends have everything ready by July 1st, and also due to changes in our agreement with Grayson County. Other than that, all of the things are or everything else that still has presented you all with the increases, including the DSS additional positions that Ms. Ayers came and spoke to us about at the public hearing, and those adjustments. But there were no cuts from the public hearing, only additions based on the added items of the public hearing.
And Mr. Barrett, just because I think it's important to point out because of what we did, not only the library, but the school system, what was the additional appropriation that's included in this budget? Because we did work really hard as a board to try to, with Dr. to address some teacher salaries. What was the amount of the increase in their budget?
The increase of local funds that Wythe County is providing to the school board budget is $1.4 million, approximately $1.4 million more in local funds being provided to the school board budget.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Barrett on the budget? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-21, which is our budget for the upcoming fiscal year. So, don't need to calm down. I heard Mr. Smith make a motion, and I have a second. Have a second by Mr. Cook. Now, is there any more questions or discussion on that? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry, I'll start with you. Aye. So approved. Now, Mr. Barry, you handed us a document before the meeting, and I think technically we can put it under old business because we've been working on this for several years. But it's an operating agreement for the Fort Chisholm branch of Wythe Grayson Regional Library.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and Ms. Adams is with us here tonight. If you don't mind letting her to discuss this. But we have been working on this for a long time. The library has been working closely with the Friends of the Fort Chisholm Library. This agreement basically establishes the library system's responsibilities, the Friends' responsibilities, and the county's responsibilities, which is basically just the county provides funding the library system for them to be able to do the operations at the Fort Chisholm Library. Ms. Adams can give you some information on their recent discussion with the Friends of the Library, where they are on that, and this agreement.
Just so timeline, the agreement was something that I met with Mr. Bear and Mr. Harding about, wrong side. And we all agreed on this agreement before we even presented it back to the Friends of the Fort Chisholm Library. Our board voted on it and agreed on it. Their board voted on it and agreed on it. So it is a valid agreement. The date on the document says July 1st. They are working hard to get the building ready for us to move in. Right now, they're waiting on this document to be signed so they can refinance the building. Right now, it is not in their name, but they are trying to get it refinanced in their name because they are 501c3, so they won't have to pay as many property taxes on it. Once they do that, their monthly payments will come down significantly, and they think they can maintain those payments. It also says July 1st. We know that there is a possibility that they will not be ready by July 1st, so our board is willing to work with them on that date. But they are working very diligently to try to find a place to move all their stuff out of. They do have all the materials to fix the building according to our standards. We went through and told them what needed fixed, and they agreed. So they do have the materials and somebody to do it for them. They're just waiting to get a storage building to move everything out. Once they move out, we can move in pretty quickly. We have a whole room full of materials that are cataloged, processed, and ready to go for the Fort Chisholm Library. We also have some programming in place for that library. If the goal was not July 1st, at least by the start of the school year for the next school year.
So What action is needed from the board?
If the board's amenable to this, I would request that the board authorize the county administrator to execute this operating agreement with Fort Chisholm Library, with Grayson Regional Library and the Friends of Fort Chisholm Library.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Smith, a second by Mr. Morgan, to authorize the county administrator to execute the documentation within the contract. Is there any more questions or discussion? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett, I'll start with you, sir. Aye. So moved. Anything else under old business while we're there, Mr. Barrett?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Move into citizens' time. I'm sure that answered several of y'all's questions, so if I call you up and you don't want to speak, just let me know. If you do not live in Wythe County or do not list an address, I will not call you up. It's printed on documentation. That rule has preceded everybody on the board. So we'll start with citizens' time. The first person we have signed up, and again, you've got 3 minutes. Mr. Cook will set the timer. The first person we have signed up is Miss Becky Harrison.
I'm Becky Harrison from Rural Retreat. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the members, mine's a pretty benign thing, so you can take a deep breath. But a year ago, when I discovered that the Rural Retreat pool, which has been renovated, the heater, all new equipment, furniture, when I went to take my grandkids on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's closed. And I had hoped that over the year that would change, that we would be open every day to serve the citizens of Wythe County and Rural Retreat. And sadly, I discovered yesterday when I wanted to take my grandkids that it continues to be closed on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in June and August. And I just think it's a shame that we have spent all this money on the facility, with the heater, and it's not being fully utilized. I spoke with the lifeguard last year, and she said, we'd love to have more hours. So I don't think it was an issue of finding enough personnel, but it's the same hours as last year. And I'm just very disappointed as a citizen of Wythe County. So
And Ms. Harrison, not to interrupt you, but apparently I missed something, because I just put something on Facebook, but we're open 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Unless it's weather.
Well, I had a very difficult time finding the hours, but I found 2 places where it listed it closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I tried calling.
I shared it off.
I tried calling yesterday.
I shared it off the Parks and Rec and the county.
I went to Parks and Rec yesterday. I spent an hour.
I'll let Ms. Rec, but
Okay.
basically as of last week, when school.
Well, okay, no one answers
No,
the
it's
phones.
open, it is open,
It is open
7
Monday,
days
Tuesday,
a
Wednesday.
week, June,
Okay. 'Cause
July.
I tried calling
Yeah.
the pool and nobody answered. Okay,
That was actually in the works before you came and spoke last year. We had already planned to open all year
awesome.
this
I
year.
never
so-
heard that, but I did. I perused Facebook.
Now, I was confused because the weather's been kind of
Right, I understand. Okay.
rainy, whatever. and
Well, you already solved the problem.
And it was like 80+ degrees this week, so
Yes.
I thought I'd push
Okay,
it out
so
there.
it's open from 12 to 6, is it? 12 to, anybody know?
I'll
Miss-
tell you just a second.
Plus 6. Ms. Williams is here with us, and if you find any of that information
Noon to
online,
6, Monday through Saturday, 1 to 6 on Sunday,
Okay.
and then it changes in
Everything I
August.
found, it didn't have it, so it maybe needs to be.
if you'll find any of
easier to
those locations and send those to me, I'll get Ms. Ellison to make certain we have those
find. Okay,
changed.
great, thank you, I appreciate y'all, thank you.
All right, the next person we have signed up is Annette Hall.
Hello, board members. Appreciate your listening to me. This is regarding availability of pornographic items to minors at the Wythe County Library. The American Library Association has had a long-term strategy to expose minors to inappropriate content in the name of diversity and intellectual freedom. The ALA is telling librarians to intentionally expose children to sexually explicit content and to oppose the removal of these books when parents and others in the community voice their concerns about this. They claim that it is the equivalent of banning books and hindering free speech. They call these concerned people hate-filled bigots. Parents have a basic right to know that their children are being exposed to books containing pornography and sexually explicit material. These types of books go beyond just explaining human reproduction and the differences in the male and female human reproductive systems and their purpose in creating new human beings. They seem to teach that sex is a recreational activity designed just for pleasure and little more. They do not connect it to marriage and a loving family unless the family is the same sex one. These books show explicit pictures of sexual activity from masturbation to anal sex to group sex. These books show explicit pictures, they degrade sexual intercourse as being nothing more than a pleasure-seeking game whose goal is to experience sexual release. They also push the LGBT, etc. agenda of embracing and celebrating all types of sexual activity as being equal to that of a normal heterosexual husband and wife relationship. Their goal appears to be one of confusing children so much that they question their very being as normal males and females. They pretend that because there has been gender dysphoria in the past as well as today, that it is something to be applauded and promoted as being a mentally and physically healthy way of life. This indoctrination is not for the benefit of children. It is for the benefit of adults who want to bring children into that alternate world. If the Wythe County Library wants to provide pornographic material for library members and their children, these materials should be made available only in a special room set aside for that purpose and not available for children to enter alone. If anyone under the age of 18 wants to see these materials, they must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian with proof being given of that status. To see what is available in the local library system, do searches on the library's website using the keywords queer and LGBT. You will be in for quite a shock. Here's part of the description of one such book titled Gender Queer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe, K-O-B-A-B-E. And here's the description. In 2014, Maya Kobabe, who uses ear pronouns, thought that a comic of reading statistics would be the last autobiographical comic E would write. At the time, it was the only thing E felt comfortable with strangers knowing about M. Now genderqueer is here. Maya's intensely cathartic autobiography charts ear journey of self-identity, which includes the mortification and confusion of adolescence crushes, grappling with how to come out to family and society, bonding with friends over erotic.
All right, that's all, thank you.
Okay, well, can I say a couple more sentences?
We're gonna hold everybody 3 minutes, okay? And the next person we have signed up, and I can't tell if it's Gary or Barry.
I'm Gary. Hello.
And my handwriting was the same way, I'm not good.
I'm Gary Allison. I just want to praise the library. I'm sort of surprised at the previous speaker. I want to know where those materials are. I mean, maybe it'll open my eyes, but I'm glad the board discussed these issues initially, so to diffuse our confusion and help explain things. The library is important. The library is a necessary facet of our community, of our intellectual and social and personal and human interaction. We have enough ugliness and enough negativity in our general national society. We're a small community. We should pull together. We should try to understand each other. And it's just shocking to hear some of the rhetoric. But I appreciate your efforts, and I appreciate the funding for the library. And I certainly appreciate the library. Thank you.
Next person I've got signed up is Terry Schrader.
Oh, that's me. And thank you. I'm here to speak for the library, and it was my understanding there was a potential problem with funding, so I'm very appreciative of the funding being included in the Fort Chisholm Library too. I've been there several times, although I don't live in Fort Chisholm. The library is very important, as Gary said, and it's a resource that's needed in our community, and it adds to our whole attractiveness as a county in attracting new businesses and residents and retaining the ones we have. And I don't feel like LGBTQ is a problem. It's open on TV, it's in the news, it's a non-issue. And thank you very much.
All right, next person we have signed up is Marcy Zone. Is that correct?
Zon, Z-O-N. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Marcy Zon. The last name is spelled Z-O-N. I live in the town limits of Rural Retreat. And I come before you this evening first because I love the Lord and I stand for His truth. I'm a newcomer to beautiful Wythe County of just 3 years now. I love it here. I love the Commonwealth of Virginia and I care about this community, its citizens, and children and future of this land. And I'd like to share a scripture verse with you. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and I will heal their land." I'd like to bring to your attention a social media post I saw on Facebook by the Wythe Grayson Regional Library Tuesday, June 3rd. This post encourages residents to use a free movie streaming platform called Canopy. The first concern I have is that the post states that the service is not funded by local tax dollars. That, in fact, is inaccurate. As a library card holder, you are able to access Canopy and stream content for free use of your card. The access is funded through the library's budget, which is in turn supported by taxes. So while Wythe County library card holders don't directly pay a subscription fee to Canopy itself, the service is ultimately funded by tax dollars. We all know nothing is free. Additionally, the more concerning matter is out of all the movies in the Canopy platform Wythe Grayson Library posted and encouraged residents to view was called Happy Birthday Marcia. I've not watched this movie, nor do I ever plan to, but per the Canopy website, the movie description is that it's about a transgender activist named Marsha Johnson, and it's about her life in the hours before she ignited the 1969 Stonewall riots in New York City. The library here in Wytheville is 0.2 miles from Spiller Elementary School. This is unacceptable content for the library to post and encourage to not only Wythe County citizens, but to our children and young adults. Board members, I respectfully ask you to investigate these concerns further to ensure that our tax dollars are not being used to push this wicked content. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, the next person we got signed up is Jane Starling.
Good evening, board. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am a resident of Wythe County, Sand Mountain. I'm here tonight because I heard the rumor that a board member would be proposing to defund our local library, which is an incredibly horrible idea that would dramatically impact on the mental health and well-being of our community. As a small child of Wythe County parents with limited income, which was a common problem in the 1960s, my parents were not able to afford to purchase enough books to keep up with my voracious desire to read. By middle school, I was riding the bus to the elementary school where I would walk to the library and then meet my mother at Micromack during her grocery shopping. I read several books per week. Access to the library impacted my life in so many ways. My horizons were widened, my intellect stimulated, and insight into the rest of the world prevented me from becoming narrow-minded and bigoted. Our local children of today deserve those same opportunities and more. not to mention the adults in our area who depend on the library in so many ways. Please do not do this horrible thing. The mention of a celebration by a tangential organization is not a legitimate reason to take any action, much less defunding the library. I will not get into the small-mindedness of being upset by the celebration of Pride Month. That's a conversation for another day. I don't know who, if anyone at this point, intended to bring up defunding, but I will be watching and making note if someone does and who votes in favor of it. I'm a retired municipal clerk, and I have a little bit of a better understanding than average of local government functions. I understand elections, and if someone does vote for this to happen, I will be working as hard as possible to ensure anyone voting in favor of this horrendous idea would not be reelected. Thank you for your time.
All passes. All right, thank you, sir. All right, next person we've got signed up is Francis Watson.
I'll pass.
All right. Helen Conley, did I get that right?
You did.
And trust me, I'm absolutely not judging y'all for your handwriting.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. I'd like to thank you for y'all offering people the time to speak. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate the fact that you did fund the library like you should. I grew up in that library. My mom took me there all the time when we were younger. As a person who also has been in a library setting her whole entire life and currently works in one, I would also like everybody to understand that a library is for everybody, not one specific group, not one specific nationality, and not one specific whatever. It's for everyone. I personally have LGBTQ friends and family members. I have a daughter who I adopted from knowing her from the library. And I also have a beautiful little granddaughter that if it hadn't been for in the library, I would not have that. The materials that are in a library are a wide variety of materials for a reason. It's because we serve many different people. Not everybody reads fantasy. Not everybody reads science fiction or history or biography. Everybody reads everything. And I'm sorry that some people get offended that a library has materials for everybody, but a library is a safe haven for many, many people. I am not one that usually speaks at anything because if you can hear my voice, I have a tremble. I'm not good in front of people. This is just how I am. But it really hit my heart when I heard what could possibly be happening, and I heard about the backlash from the advertisement on Facebook. Every group of people who rely on the library need to understand what is available to them. Just because it's available for people to the library does not mean that everybody needs to use it. If you prefer not to use that, that's fine, but don't try and limit it for other people. Everybody deserves the right to learn and be educated and find stuff that they're interested in. I personally know many people who have come to the library where I work who had no other safe place to go, and that is not a good thing. People come to the library for all different reasons. Activities, books, intelligence, companionship. It just depends on each person. And I appreciate the fact that y'all are continuing that and allowing people to have access to that. Thank
The next person we've got signed up is Virginia Sanborn.
I'll pass.
Did I get your name right at least?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I'm more nervous than that one.
Y'all sit up here. The next person we got signed up is Zach Lester.
Good afternoon. I just want to compliment the Blue Reed Creek Access. I think it's a really good idea to put the accesses over on Kent's Lane and Miller Street. I've kayaked on Reed Creek for like 20 years, and it's always been a big fight to try to get on properties and off of properties appropriately and not make, the property owners upset. So I think having the access is awesome, and it's going to encourage people to get out and spend time on our creek, which nobody does. So I think it's a really good move, and I didn't know anything about it, so I saw the plaques out here a couple meetings ago. Good job, everybody. I just want to say that you guys do great. We've got new fire trucks, we've got new cop cars, we've got new radios. The county has done awesome, hasn't raised our taxes. Just keep up the good work. Thank you all.
Just because, here you go. I don't know if you, one of the few privileges I get, I stole an extra one, so. That's a huge salary.
Mr. Lester, will you hold up, show
And that was Allison Williams. That she designed that logo, and the whole idea was Miss Lawson. We were all passengers, so.
I couldn't have done it without you all.
It only took like 7 years.
It's worth it.
All right, the next person we got signed up is Joe Elton.
Good evening to all of you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I just want to support the library. I use it very often. And I can observe whenever I'm there that a wide variety of people rely on the library. It's a tremendous resource for the citizens of Wythe County. And also, I'm going to give a lot of time to somebody else because I just want to say the Blue Way is a great idea. And I would have been at the dedication if I wasn't working on the New River Trail. Thank you so much.
All right, next person we got signed up is Ethan. The last name starts with an E, but I don't think you live in Wythe County, just be honest with me. All right, thank you, sir. William Bishop.
My name is William Bishop. I'm a previous employee of the Wythe County Library. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak. I don't think I can say anything better than has already been said by this young lady. The library is a place for everyone. All shapes, sizes, color, creeds, nationalities. And there is objectionable material in the library, and there should be. If we don't have access to that material, how can we know it's objectionable? As far as any sort of agenda being pushed, it's a ridiculous notion. I worked there for 2 years, and the issue of LGBTQ never came up, not once. What did come up was the value that the library provides our community. A librarian answers a call to service to the people of our town. And if you don't mind, I would like everybody in the room who I personally have helped to stand up, please. I did that in just 2 years. I left the library to raise a daughter, be a stay-at-home father. I do intend on returning. I'm pursuing my master's degree to maybe take your job one day. I had heard the rumors of defunding the library, and I initially came to speak out against that. I would like to applaud everyone here for giving the library the money that it needs and to get the Fort Chiswell Library up and running. And so everything that's been said is needed to be said, needed to be heard. So thank you for doing the right thing and supporting our libraries. It is an investment in the library, the investment in the people of our community. Thank you.
All right, the next person we got signed up is Julie Lloyd.
I was at the bottom of the list, I don't know how you call it first. I'm Julie Lloyd, I'm from North Retreat, Virginia, although I grew up in Wytheville, Virginia. I've lived in Northern Virginia, in Richmond, and I can tell you how not to do things. I did want to come and tell you all that the library, we moved here in 1976, and my mom used to take us to the library
every week. And to go to the children's section, go to the adolescent section, go nuts. I completely agree with what you have to say about it being for all people. That being said, all people also include parents. And my parents said go nuts. And we could just come home with whatever. And I remember when we came home with, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." Okay? That would have been considered sexually explicit in 1984, because I'm old. My mom had the opportunity to read that book with us because she was knowledgeable about the content. So as a Christian, as a believer in traditional values or whatever, she had the opportunity just to explain that to us as her children. Now, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret" didn't get into sexual explicitness. It got into what happens when a woman's body changes. And the only thing I ask for us to consider, there's two things. One, if the library's for everybody, and I agree, give parents the opportunity to be able to be parents and shepherd what their child chooses. Somebody said something about having separate sections. You know, I think that the thing about small towns that I love is there's an opportunity to achieve unity. I lived in Richmond when it was the summer of 20, and I taught at a school that had great differences left and right. What we agreed was if we could accept the posture of unity, we could care for diversity, equity, inclusion, bring everybody to the table, and move forward without the division that cripples a school. And I think that could happen in Wythe County too. I believe in John 17, Jesus says that his final wish before he goes on the cross is that we be completely one. It's not accurate to say people in Wythe County don't love each other. We may disagree, but the library is a place where the conservative Christian can have their values met, as well as someone that is not a conservative Christian. It's the Wythe County Public Library.
Yes.
And I just would like for us to adopt this posture that we don't denigrate those who are Christians as being small-minded, because that's not necessarily who I am and not who my mom raised me to be. And I think the library is a great place for us to forge a statement of unity. I'm done.
Mr. Practice that, he's right on the dot. Next person we got signed up is Mr. Andy Kegley.
Thank you. I thought I was going to pass, but I think it's germane what I want to say here. I realize you guys have really difficult decisions every meeting. Libraries are depositories full of information, useful to those who take advantage of it, learn from it, grow in their presence and access. But they also contain books I choose not to read. There's always a book in high school that I absolutely despised reading, but I managed to do it because I knew it was a great mistake. But here's the thing. Now I have a personal choice of which books I take off a shelf and decide to take home to learn and grow from. So it struck me as rich, ironic, and even tad hypocritical that tonight's agenda contained a rumor that's now been dispelled, thank you, about withholding funds from the library. Because as you know, and I only have a hint of, not from any public paid official, and maybe it's just another rumor, that also on your current agenda tonight, though protected by executive session, is consideration of cutting a deal of a new data center in Progress Park, Project Crimson, Element, or Gradient, perhaps. A data center is also a modern-day depository, full of more information than we will ever know, able to process, useful to those who take advantage of it, learn from it, dare I say profit from it. Billions of dollars in today's economy are dependent upon data centers, and Virginia has positioned itself as a global hub of data, with something like 70% of all the world's internet bits and bytes, packets of information flowing through the data centers concentrated here in our fair Commonwealth. According to a 2023 JLARC study, Virginia is host to 13% of the global capacity. Think for a minute about that data and how it compares to our cherished data sitting over on Monroe Street. You can choose to pick a book or order one from another library and read it to your heart's desire. You have the key to just about any written word ever created in our history. You have to hold it in your hand if you so desire. It's your choice. The role of a library is akin to a data center. With the right search tool and access permissions from the privacy of your home, couch, or bed, you can choose to stream, or scroll through any imaginable and unimaginable kind of information available on the World Wide Web. It's reported that 15% of all internet traffic is pictures of cats and kittens. It's also reported 30% of all internet traffic is related to porn, and 7% contains malicious software. Who knows what amount of internet traffic is related to crypto, and how vulnerable our global network may be to a next blackout. I'm not here to condemn data centers, as they are an economic force larger than we have any control over. They will use produced amounts of energy and water, driving up prices for us all, according to JLAR. It will generate new tax revenue, which is certainly an attraction for U7 as you adopt a budget with level tax revenues for the coming year. I am here, though, to ask you to think about supporting something which benefits us all. If you choose to say no to the library, that ought to mean saying no to selling that Progress Park as well. Thank you.
Next person we've got signed up, I believe it's Maddie Pitts.
Oh. Yeah, I'm good. I just want y'all to remember me.
I wanted to make an input.
Can I restart or?
Well, I will take. You edit that out.
We can zoom in if you need to.
I'm just glad you're all right.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
My name's Maddie Pitts. I live in Rural Retreat. Many of y'all don't know me. I'm not from here originally. I moved here last July, and the library was the first place that I found community out here. I went to the library on a random Saturday and played board games with a bunch of local people, and that's where I found a home. Then, starting in September of last year until May recently, I was a volunteer at the library where I helped over 150 different seniors learn how to use their phones, their computers, anything having to do with technology. The library is not just a room of books. It is a community. It is a place where everybody comes. And that's why any attacks against the library, whether that be what they can distribute or who they can help, hurts the library. You're not just talking about books here. We're talking about people's lives. Seniors are some of our biggest supporters of the library, as you can probably see in the room behind me. I'm so grateful for everyone here, but I hope that you continue to support the library, and I appreciate what y'all have already done, continuing to fund the library, and I'm so thankful for this time. Y'all have a good day.
All right, next person we've got signed up is Sandy Mack, and she knows I can't pronounce her last name. We kind of got an agreement.
Sandy Mack.
I've tried.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'm Cindy McElrath, and I'm here to express deep concern over how our tax dollars are being used to promote Pride Month through Canopy. Now, some have claimed that this is a free service, and the individual can simply choose whether or not to view the content. And it is true that the content is optional, but that's not the point. The point is that our tax dollars were used to promote it. Taxpayer platforms were used to spotlight content that many in our community believe is inappropriate and should not be endorsed with public dollars. And to be clear, Canopy is not free. Canopy itself confirms it operates on a pay-per-view model. Every time a film is streamed, the library pays a fee. That fee, along with staff time, digital infrastructure, and promotional efforts, is funded by our tax dollars. Whether it be local, state, or federal money, that is still taxpayer money. Now, those of us speaking tonight, we do so knowing that we're going to be labeled bigots. But it is not bigotry to say that children should not be introduced to sexual conduct of any kind. Will face ridicule and hostility and potential physical threats, all from those who claim to champion tolerance. But that is not tolerance, it's intimidation. We'll be told we don't love our neighbor, but the truth is quite the opposite. Love thy neighbor doesn't mean blind approval. True love is rooted in truth. And the truth is this: our library should serve the entire public, not promote agendas using public money. And this isn't about censorship, it's about stewardship of public resources, of community trust, and the hearts and minds of the next generation. So tonight, I respectfully ask this board to refocus our library on its original purpose to educate, inform, and unite. Let it once again be a place where our tax dollars are used to provide resources all families can trust and enjoy. Thank you.
All right, the next person we've got signed up is Autumn Soul.
I'm really large one from the bottom of the list.
Well, there's several people that don't live here and several people that didn't follow the rules, so we're skipping around.
Okay, I'm not loud, and I'm sorry ahead of time, I'm not.
Apparently I'm not either. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here to talk about my son. He's disabled, he's very disabled. He is a wheelchair user. We moved here when he was 9 years old. He was in a wheelchair then. This town is not built for disabled people. It is not. Some of the changes that have been made to the town since we have moved here were presented in such a way that it would make it safer for people who needed walking aids and things like that to navigate the town. They don't. The sidewalk on Main Street is beautiful, gorgeous, it's slippery. I can't take my son there. That said, there are very few places in this town that are safe, that are accessible and inclusive to my son and to anybody who needs those sorts of supports. Now, we're talking about the library, obviously. That's one of the few safe places in this county and in this town that I can take my son. I can't take him to the park. It's too dangerous to get him there. He's older now, so that's not a thing. I can't take him to very many places, but I can take him to the library. And so I appreciate y'all continuing to support that. The other thing also about my son, I don't know if this is the right place for it, but I'm giving it a shot. I would very much like to fix the street lights on West Spiller, and that entire area, because a lot of we're gonna say dangerous people walk up and down through there in the night. And
Not to interrupt.
is not,
It's
it's a different one?
Town council.
Town council? All right, I'll pitch it in.
I mean, we'll listen. I mean, I get it. But
Can we fix the street lights? I'll go there.
we can. The
You
town
can't, but like, maybe we can think about it because, man.
If you'll give me just a second, because, we do our thing.
I don't get to leave my house often due to my son being very disabled, so I fought to get here tonight. And it turns out I didn't need to because y'all did,
Well, if you'll give me just a second, because now, I like to pass the buck to the town of Whitfield. Whenever it's something, out of our hands. They just had a town council meeting last night. They had a work session, today at 4 p.m. So do they meet the Monday before we do?
I think it's the second and fourth Monday.
Second and fourth Monday. Well, I'll just be a problem over there.
Yeah, if you get on their website, they always post it. Yeah. And they meet at 6, same time, so.
Thank you.
All right, so that's all we had signed up for citizens' time that listed their address and or lived in West County. So I'll close citizens' time. I will say, I appreciate everybody coming out. It's, it is what it is. I mean, we adopted the budget. I will say that for people to say that certain ones of us don't support the library, I've been supporting the library I've been on this board for 8 years, and I fought for a retreat library, which is kind of an incredible group of, ladies that, made that happen. I fought for it when I was on town council to get it open. I mean, that's where I'm at. You know, the people that, for people that have complaints about content and all that stuff, you know, we have a library board. We appoint, Wythe County appoints 3 people, 4 people. Mr. Morgan, we wrote him in, been on the library board his first year. But they're listed on their website. You know, we're a funding agency. But you know, I'll just be honest with you. Maybe I'm getting a little tender-hearted in my old age and on my way out. But you know, I took some of the comments on social media personal about not supporting the library. That's, you know, from my perspective, is absolute lie. You know, for people to say that, you know, board members couldn't read, I took that personally. You know, I grew up in a blue-collar family. I was the first one in my family to graduate with a 4-year degree. So I worked my rear end off to get to where I am, so I took that personally. Unfortunately, social media lets you say whatever you want to. And that's where we're at as a society. You know, people reach out to me and go, "What's up?" I'm like, "I don't know." But I will say I appreciate having a full room, because normally it's me, them, Zach, and Gus. And I don't even know where Gus is at. Gus is back in the corner. But it would have been nice to see all y'all last meeting when we had a budget hearing, when we talked about increasing the fund for the library, increasing the funding for our school teachers without increasing taxes, adding positions to DSS without increasing taxes. Now, that's my TED talk. You can go home and blast me on Facebook all you want to, because I'm not running. So it's not a bunch of BS, it's the truth. But I'll shut up if anybody else has got anything to say. I'm the talker of the group, you can't figure that out, so. But anybody else got anything to add?
I better not.
All right. Well, I'll do this every time we got a big group, just because the audio, even though Miss Williams is using the iPad, we're going to take a brief recess for 5 minutes. If you want to leave, feel free to leave. If you want to stay, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. So we'll be in recess. All right, I'll call us back to order on the record, and I apologize, and I wished I would have called it earlier, but the crowd, I forgot she was here, but just recognize a guest, Miss Cameron Burton, County Administrator from Wayne County, who actually used to be a library director.
I am still the library director.
Still the library.
I wear many hats in Wayne.
But welcome, Ms. Burton. And I will tell you that I know that I and a couple of other board members serve on committees with Ms. Burton. She does an excellent job. She must have read a lot. All right, Mr. Barrett, you are absolutely going to have to help me. And that doesn't happen very often, but I've got off track. We got some public hearings. The first one is an erosion and sediment control ordinance 2025-03. And I will read the public notice for the record. In compliance with the Code of Virginia of 1950, the amendments thereto, the Wythe County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing to consider a proposed ordinance entitled Erosion and Sediment Control Ordinance of Wythe County, Virginia. The public hearing shall be held on Tuesday, June the 10th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Wythe County Board of Supervisors meeting room 340 South 6th Street, Wytheville, Virginia. The public may comment in person at the public hearing or submit written responses to County Clerk Ms. Martha Collins at the address below or at, and I'm not going to read her email, the copy of the proposed ordinance may be found online at withco.org or at the County Administrator's Office, 290 South 6th Street, Suite 50, Wytheville, Virginia. I will open the public hearing. We have no one signed up to speak on the public hearing, so I'll close the public comment section. Mr. Baird, do you have anything to add?
Mr. Chairman, the copy of the ordinance follows this. Mr. Johnny Kinser, County Engineer, is here with us. He has worked on this ordinance. Basically, with state directions, we need to update our erosion sediment control ordinance every once in a while. I believe 2007 was the last update of it. He has reviewed it. He has worked with the state agencies and all on this. Mr. Chairman, I would request that you all consider adopting ordinance 2025 erosion sediment control ordinance.
Mr. Kinser, do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Is there any way we can get you on camera wearing a tie and suit?
Josh said over here I'm not on camera.
Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the ordinance as presented? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve 2025-03.
So
Have a motion by Mr. Terry, a second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions and or discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry.
Aye.
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 So approved. The next public hearing, Mr. Baird, I will let you read that one because I think I've talked about it.
No problem, Mr. In compliance with notice of public hearing, in compliance with the Code of Virginia of 1950 and amendments thereto, the Wythe County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing to consider a proposed ordinance entitled Employee Bonus Ordinance of Wythe County, Virginia. The public hearing shall be held on Tuesday, June 10, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Wythe County Board of Supervisors meeting room, 340 South 6th Street, Wytheville, Virginia. The public may comment in person at the public hearing or submit written comments to Clerk Martha Collins at the address below or by email. A copy of the proposed ordinance may be found online at www.withco.org or at the County Administrator's Office, 290 South 6th Street, Suite 350, Wytheville, Virginia, for public review.
All right. I'll open the public comment period. Again, we don't have anybody signed up, so I'll close the public comment period for 2025-04. Is there any discussion or concerns with that ordinance? Mr. Farthing, I guess this would be a legal question. Since I work for the Sheriff's Office, I do qualify with it's state funded, it comes from the comp board. But I need to abstain.
Goes to the sheriff's office. I would abstain out of an abundance of caution.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve 2025-04. Have a motion by Mr. Burnett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Ms. Lawson. Any more questions or discussion? Right, here and now we'll do. I don't know, I'm not an attorney.
His wife works for the school. His wife works for the school, that's what's thing also.
I was going to tell you, I think I gave you a bad opinion because this is not only the sheriff's
I've got
office.
those for years.
But thinking about it a little further, this is all employees of Wythe County. So it's more than just the sheriff's office or the school board, so I think you're both okay with it.
And it's not county funded, it's passed.
Right, it's passed through, right. Yeah. So I think you're both okay with it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter. Now, we got a motion and a second. Does that answer your questions? Does anybody else have any questions? All right. Do a roll call vote, Mr. Terry.
Aye.
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 So approved. Now, next item on our agenda is payment of invoices. Each board member has received in their board copy of the invoices that need to be paid. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to approve the invoices. Have a motion by Mr. Smith, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Cook. Is there any questions on any invoice that any board member wants to pull out? All right, hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett? Aye. 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 So approved. Next, we've got the minutes of our previous meeting from May 27, 2025. I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Have a motion by Mr. Burnett, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Ms. Lawson. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed?
I'll say no.
All right. So approved. I know we went over old business. Anything else under old business, Mr. Barrett?
No, sir.
Move on to new business. We've got some appointments. Sorry, I lost my place. We've got a cry for appointment, Ms. Lawson, and it expires, end of the month.
I'm trying to continue it through the end of the year, but since I won't be there next year.
Oh, you can still, I think you can still be over
I don't know.
there. I don't know.
And it's usually elected officials, from Wythe and Blaine counties that make up that appointment, so I'm not trying to kick Ms. Lawson off. You can either appoint her for 6 months or go ahead and appoint someone else.
Well, Ms. Burton came,
This is an appointment. You do get the luxury of meeting with Ms. Burton, so you do want to be on this, authority.
Do you mind just reappointing? I mean, all right, I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Ms. Lawson. So have a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Congratulations. Next, we've got the Mountain Cat with Ms. Hagwood, and I meant to speak to her the other day if you get a chance. Have you talked to her?
I have not talked to her. We can do it on June 30th if you'd like. You just go ahead and appoint her.
I think we just reappoint her.
Mr. Chairman, what if you can do, if you want to do a couple of them at a time? Ms. Dixon.
Well, I was getting ready to say, we've got Mountain Cat with Ms. Hagwood. We've got with Grayson Regional Library Board with Ms. Davis. I assume she's done a really good job on library board. I assume she wants to do it again. And we just appointed Ms. Dix to WCC board for, I guess,
the Dale Clark
position. So I'll just entertain the motion to reappoint Ms. Hagwood to Mountain Cat, Ms. Davis to with Grayson Library Board, and Ms. Dix to WCC board.
So,
Have a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Smith. Any questions or discussion on that motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So approved.
Mr. Chairman, I would also request, Ms. Collins did check with Stephanie Parker. They do with Plano Chamber of Commerce Executive Director. She's going to serve on the 9th District Development Financing. That's usually been the Chamber Director serving on it, so I would request the appointment of Stephanie Parker.
All right, entertain a motion to appoint Ms. Stephanie Parker to the 9th District Development Financing.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Lawson, do I have a second? Second. Have a second by Mr. Burnett. Any questions or discussion on that one? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So approved. Now, Grandview Drive Resolution 2025-22. Mr. Barrett?
Yes, you previously approved the revenue sharing and then the transportation service district for that. We have submitted everything into VDOT. They do plan on constructing that road to state maintained standards. This goes ahead and provides a resolution for them to take Grandview Drive into the state system. I would request your all adoption of this resolution.
All right. We've talked about this before, so I'll entertain a motion to approve 2025-22. Have a motion by Mr. Morgan, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Smith. Any questions or discussion on that? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett. Aye. So approved. Next, we have a styrofoam exemption.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, a couple weeks ago, Tracy Webster, the school nutrition coordinator, sent an email to Dr. Poole, or sent an email to me, sent an email to Dr. Poole, I guess, and he forwarded it on to me. But basically, asked that, send the attached letter. The same co-op that they're working with are trying to find substitutions for the styrofoam products they use. However, not had any success yet. Currently, we look at a cost increase of switching to the styrofoam of about 30 or 40%. Received emails from several county administrators that were looking into this issue, having the same issue. Some didn't have the issue. Some were trying to find alternatives. Matt looked into the legislation for me to review a little bit of it. It gives the ability for the school board to request an exemption, and they request the exemption from the county. And apparently, by the power vested in the state of Virginia, we have the power, the authority to grant such exemption in the process. The next page is Dr. Poole provided the information on the exception, and it would be for 1 year from the date of the exemption. So I would request that the board agree to Dr. Poole's request for the exemptions for the next fiscal, or for the next school year. And don't ask me any questions, Brett. If you have any questions, I'll ask Dr. Poole to come on June 30th.
Well, I asked some questions. I still understand. So, all right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the styrofoam exemption for Wythe County Public Schools. Have a motion by Mr. Cook. Have a second. Have a second by Mr. Terry. Is there any questions or discussion on that? Preferably no questions. All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So approved. Next, we've got a Commonwealth Attorney amendment appropriate funds request. I assume everybody's read that. Pretty straightforward. It was a reimbursement that was, I placed in the wrong line item. Mr. Barrett, do you have anything to add?
No, they received the reimbursement, and he's just requested it be added into his budget. So I recommend you all approve the amounts as requested.
All right, entertain a motion to amend and appropriate the funds requested by Mr. Jones. Have a motion by Mr. Smith, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Morgan. Is there any questions or discussion on that? Mr. Bear, I will just say that Ms. Lackey asked me about that just a couple, 3 weeks ago, because she knows that I get the invoices and board packet. Can we cut that check tomorrow, because she had put that on a credit card?
Yeah.
Thinking that she would be reimbursed before.
Yeah, and I thought I was aware of the situation, that they requested the reimbursement from the treasurer's office, and I thought all they went back and all they had to do was just put it in for a, purchase or a reimbursement request, just like the sheriff's office the day for her. I thought that already gone in to be processed, but if you all will approve that, we will go ahead and process immediately if it's not already been done.
Yeah, I mean, just.
Yeah, there was enough money in the budget even without this to process and pay it. I think they just want to put this back. I thought they just want to put this back.
And she may have been, just,
yeah.
if you'll just check.
We will follow up on that.
All right, have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So approved. Anything else under new business, Mr. Mayor?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hankins?
No, sir.
So many people here earlier, and you've been quiet, I forgot you lived there. All right, we'll move on to board reports. We've got the budget committee.
Budget Committee met on June 3rd, 2025, and authorizes the county administrator to enter into an agreement with Meetingham Arbitrage Rebate Services for SNAP Arbitrage Rebate Calculation Service.
All right, coming from committee, does need a second. Is there any questions and or discussion on that one? All right, do a roll call vote. Carrie.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So approved.
That's all, Mr.
All right. Move on to board members' time. Mr. Terry, we'll start with
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir.
you. All right, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Smith.
Nothing this time,
Mr. Cook. Nothing at this time. Ms. Lawson.
Just a quick thank you for everyone who came out to the ribbon cutting. I know some people said some stuff earlier. I see a couple of people here that were there that day, so I really appreciate it. And I already thanked everyone at the ribbon cutting, but Allison, I forgot to thank her. She worked so hard on the logos and pulling everything together, and Mr. Hankins and Mr. Barrett, everyone. So it was really nice turnout, and I think people are already enjoying it. So that's all I have.
All right, Mr. Burley.
Only thing I have is I've had several people ask me to do that. We'll be mowing in the Patterson, Burns Springs area, on the side of the road. That's all I have.
All right. I've got a couple of items. One, Ms. Lawson kind of covered with the kayak portage areas. I joke about the speed government all the time and how some things move. I just want to give Brian credit. You know, it was her ideal, and it just, you know, it drug on for 6, 7 years. But she stuck with it, and again, with everybody she thanked at the ribbon cutting and tonight, you know, everybody just kept on it. I was on the service road the other day, and I seen 3 people turn in with kayaks on their vehicles. So it's a nice area, and hopefully the county, you know, will keep making improvements. I know I talked to Mr. Hankins that day about maybe putting some grills down there so people can grill out. But I don't know if I'm ready to get the kayak yet, but if I do, it's there. I'm a cement bottom person. You know, I jumped in the retreat pool, I jumped in the creek. And, you know, the next thing I've got, I had a gentleman call me, and I've talked to a couple of you about it. I had a gentleman call me the other week, and he lives over the line, 2 or 3 houses in the Carroll County, but he's got Wythe County. And several months ago, he was hospitalized and on short-term disability. He works for the state, and they only pay 60% under their new leave policy. And his water got cut off. And so he paid this $75 fee to get it turned back on. He's like, you know, it is what it is, you know, whatever. So apparently the other week, whatever it was, him and his wife sat working in their yard. And their neighbor comes up and says, hey, we got this mail in our box the other day, and it's y'all's mail. And it was a cutoff from the county. So he told his wife, he's like, hey, go write a check, let's go with your pay. So they wrote a check, jumped in the car, come down here and pay. And, you know, our employees followed our policy that says, you know, once you're on the list, you gotta pay the reconnect. Well, he'd only brought one check, whatever, and so he's like, you know, that's all the money I got. So he gave him the check and went home. His water hadn't been cut off when he left the house. 2 or 3 hours later, county employee shows up to cut his water. And he goes out there and he's like, man, I paid my bill this morning. And he said it was a, you know, younger guy. And so the gentleman called up here and they're like, yeah, he paid his bill, but he's on the list. And so our employee gets off the phone and says, hey, I'm just doing my job, gotta cut it off. So he cuts it off. So he calls me and he's like, I just don't think that's right. I kind of agree with it. So I reach out to Mr. Baird. Mr. Baird, basically said, well, that's our policy, whatever. Well, I don't agree with it. So, I called him back the next night, and he's in a hotel in Roanoke because he works for Department of Corrections, Prison and Corrections. They had him went to the hospital. He worked 16 hours, they put him up in a hotel, and he said, I don't know what I'm doing. He said, my wife's stuck at home, she works, we don't have water. So I come up here, I'll pay you $75 to get his water turned back on because it's the right thing to do. Mr. Baird doesn't agree with me because it's our policy, but the policy's been effective for any of us has been on board. But me being me, I look it on our county website, and it was adopted, last policy revision was adopted March 24th, 2020. It's on the county website. It says if water service is disconnected for non-payment and a customer desires reconnection of the water service, the customer shall pay the outstanding balance plus a $75 reconnect fee. Well, his water was never disconnected. So we tried to charge him a reconnect fee for something that was not disconnected. I don't think that's right. And Mr. Baird has reached out to other counties, and other counties have, similar ordinances. But just because everybody does something doesn't mean it's right. There's black and white, but when you're dealing with human beings, there's got to be a gray area. That's my opinion, and I'd like to have my $75 back. But if I don't get it, I don't get it. And at the end of the day, I sleep like a baby because I feel like I've done the right thing. And I don't need everybody in Wythe County calling me, want me to pay $75. I ain't got that kind of money. But to me, when the water department employee called in here and they said, oh, he paid the bill, that should have ended. Because we created more work on ourselves in our water department than was necessary. Because the ultimate goal is for people to pay the bill. I pay my bills, Now, the postal service, and I'm not gonna get into that because sometimes I have to take their mail, and our names are not even the same. This guy's neighbor had the same last name anyway. It is what it is, but to me, it's just not right. And I'll show it. But I don't know what we need to do to fix it.
It looks like we need to change the policy, or the policy to address it.
So is it something we can send back to the water committee and let them evaluate the policy?
Well, finance has to reimburse. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And I think I think that's the logical first step is to send it to the water committee and let them look at it. And like I said, I've sat here for 8 years. I've heard a lot of stories of, y'all won't pay my road. Well, the county don't pay the road. I mean, y'all got the same phone calls I've got. And maybe I was in my feels that day, as young people say, but I mean, I kind of felt sorry. And I'll tell you this, and Mr. Farley, because so our employee told him, because they want the water. His wife told me, said, we've got 5 wells on this property that have all went dry. So we were excited, when they told us we could hook on to this county. You know, we deal with a lot of people who don't want Wythe County. So they were excited about it. And so when he told me, he's like, well, I only brought one check, you know, I just had to hook on my well. And they're like, well, you gotta pay a non-user fee. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's a county ordinance for Wythe County. I'm not sure we can enforce a Wythe County ordinance in Carroll County.
If they're on their water system, I think we can, but I don't know.
I don't think you're gonna win that one in court.
I don't either.
So, if he's on a jury, I got one vote. But no, I mean, that was a legal question. You know, I get it, and, you know, the employee he spoke to probably is, you know, may have not even realized with his address that he lived in Carroll County. But when he told me that, I was like, I don't know how that works. But anyway, my suggestion would be we, you know, send it back to the water committee and y'all talk about it. But, and I don't know that there's a perfect fix. But we gotta do better on that, in my opinion.
Who's on the water? I'll tell you, I had a story kind of like that probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Did you get your money back?
Well, no, it didn't get that far, but the story was a lot like that one, so you all may have got called on it as well. But I'll put you in that situation, if you have a little bit of info on that one.
And I'm absolutely not being ugly about our employees or you know, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I like to give a hard time, or Mr. Mayor's response. You know, they're following the policy that was updated in 2020.
This needs to be revisited.
And I assume, do they have county cell phones? Or
Yes.
they use a person? I thought they did. You know, those people that haven't paid the bill, and I don't know, I say this, I'm not going every day, or not going right out there and confront somebody, because they know they haven't paid. They know they're on the hook for that $75. But like I said, that one I just think that we could have done better. That's my opinion, so. I'll take a check, Mr. Mayor. But anyway, just, we'll send it back to the water committee and y'all look at it and come up with something, but I just, like I said, maybe I'm getting a little soft and old age, I just don't think that's right.
So they came up and paid it?
My wife told me, do what?
So they came up and paid, and that same day, our guy shows up?
Yeah, because they probably have a list that morning.
Yeah, and they get, I mean, they print the list off, like I said, it's, I won't say that our employees have done anything wrong because they're following. You know, they print out a list. My thing is, when they called in and said, yeah, he paid his bill, but he didn't pay the reconnect fee. The reconnect fee for what? It's not been disconnected. It is my issue. And you know, and Mr. Baird, you know, I asked him, because, you know, when several years ago, many years ago, we looked at all these huge bills where people have to pay. And, you know, we started taking them to court. Mr. Baird provided me with, you know, a list, and his name that's doing that, you know, Miss Wynn, you know, she's dedicated more time because, you know, my thing is I pay my bills, I expect everybody to pay theirs. But at the end of the day, we just won't pay people to pay their bills, is my thing. Anyway, all right, I'll show you. All right, next item on our agenda is the closed session under Code of Virginia 2.2, 3711A1 personnel, 911 director, and 2.2, 3711A5 respective industry for projects Crimson, Element, and Gradient. And I'll entertain a motion to go to closed session. Have a motion by Mr. Terry, do I have a second? Have a second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're now in closed session. All right, entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Cook, a second by Mr. Terry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're now back in open session on the record. Mr. Terry, if you'll read the certification.
Whereas the Wythe County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting in the state pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Info Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors that such a meeting was conducted in conformity with the Virginia law. Now therefore be resolved that the Wythe County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge on the public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification resolution applies. And only such public business matters as were identified in the motion to be in this closed meeting were heard, discussed, and are considered by the Wythe County Board of Supervisors. And I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Terry. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Mr. Morgan. Any questions or discussion on that motion? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Burnett.
Aye.
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 So approved. All right, we've each received a copy of Wythe County Resolution 2025-23. I'll entertain a motion to approve that resolution. I have a motion by Mr. Cook. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Burnett. Any questions or discussion on that resolution? All right, here now we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Terry.
Aye.
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 Aye. So approved. Mr. Barry, anything else to come before the board?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, I will mention their next meeting is on Monday, June 30th at 10 a.m. We will not be meeting on the 14th.
Mr. Hankins?
Only to mention that we are looking for a solution to improve our sound system and video recording system issues. We hope to bring you a solution at the end of the month.
Mr. Farley, do you have anything?
I do not, thank you.
Ms. Collins? All right, anybody else? Hearing nothing else to come before the board, we'll be adjourned.